Island X comes out in 1 week.
Yes.
1 week from when this drops. It'll be out in 1 week. Those listening have exactly 1 week left to pre-order. Are you? Oh, is that the reaction? Is it?
Yeah.
Are we? Fear, excitement, both?
All of it, all of the above. Yes.
Okay, that's fair. That's the. I guess I feel like that's the right. As long as there's not too much of the anxiety and fear and some excitement and happiness.
Yeah. I mean, I have a really baseline of anxiety and fear day to day anyhow, so it's fine.
Yeah, same. Before I jump into questions for you, can you tell our dear listeners an elevator pitch, a quick pitch for Island X?
The quick thing that I've been telling everyone is that it's about an island that makes influencers disappear. Uh, but I pitch it as it's Fire Fest.
Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, yeah, it is the. I don't know. There's also like I don't know. Maybe just because it's tropical, it reminded me a lot of Lost.
Oh, sure.
The television show.
I've heard a lot of comparisons, but I never actually have seen Lost.
Oh boy, we can't turn this into a Lost podcast. I would say watch the first season and see how you feel. First season's incredible. After that, there's some really high highs and really low lows. That first season is great. And if everything was as good as that first season, no one would have complaints. It's still really good. And the writing, even in the bad episodes for character stuff, is really, really solid. You just have to let go of sometimes a lot of those weird things that get the mysteries that start floating around the show. They don't get answered sometimes. And you just kind of have to let go. You know where the characters end up. Okay. Every character, you know where they go. You know what happens to them. You know where they came from. All that.
Mm-hmm.
The weird things that they see around the island, kind of, people get upset because not everything got explained, because I think they never had explanations for some of it. And they're just like, here's some weird stuff. We'll throw it at you.
Sure.
No, it's fine. But I feel like that's but nothing else about your book is like Lost. Lost is people crash on a weird island.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people unpacking trauma on a mysterious island.
Mm-hmm.
There's no social media, which is integral to your book. You need the social media stuff is, I would say, important. It's maybe the biggest theme of the book is our humanity and social media, and how it's hellish and defines our reality at times.
Yes.
And we're gonna try and tiptoe around spoilers.
Okay.
Because this would do a disservice, but the book's not even out yet. I'm not gonna try and reveal some pretty big mystery in the book, which I did not expect. I went into this completely blind. I didn't even read the blurb. I just read it. I went directly in, not knowing. I knew the festival, right? I knew festival goes wrong on some island, and I didn't know anything else. And I think you're better off as a reader if you don't know what feels like at a certain point like a left hook hits me, where you're like, what the yeah, I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I think that's what I'm going to start with, mystery. And this is I don't know. This is a little bit, I think we could touch on both a macro and a micro scale of mystery. And we can start on the macro scale. So there are certain things that you answer. There are certain things where you tell the reader explicitly, this is why this is happening. This is why this is happening as you read through the book. And there are some things you do not tell. There's some things you explicitly, I'm like, I guess I don't know who I have to decide, which I like some. I love an ambiguity. Don't get me wrong. So how did you decide, not in this book and in general, when you're in any of your writing, how much to reveal to a reader, like both on a macro scale, like I want a reader to know these things and the other things I want to be ambiguous. how do you decide? Is that a gut feeling? Is it driven by a leash of, well, I need to give them some answers but not too much, things like that?
I I have a very good critique group that helped me when they were like, I have no idea what is going on. And then when they're like, it's peeking way too much behind the curtain. So that helped to even things out. But I guess I was just like, what would reasonably be revealed to these people? And we were both just at StokerCon, and I heard a good panel. I don't even remember which one it was. I went to so many, but somebody was talking about in a world where ghost stories exist, when someone's in a ghost story, when will they pick up that maybe there's a ghost, something like that. And so I really tried to think very hard about like, when would people like start thinking that it's this, or start thinking that it's this, or finally like just give in to the idea that something supernatural is happening. And I think it's different for each character, which was a lot of fun to play with, is the different pick up on different things. And so those through the 3 POVs that you get really helped, so that I didn't think I was like dropping too much with one character, and you just got to pick it up through everybody's point of view.
Right. It's also a question of how much of that is driven by, and I think this is going to vary per person, but for you, how is it strictly like, well, the characters would have this information, so that is what I'm going to give a reader? Or is it like, no, I personally want my book to be more ambiguous in this way? Was there ever you having to push back on your own desire to be like, no, I want to have more mystery, but also that would, all the readers would hate me, so I'm going to give them a little bit more?
I think I always knew that it was going to be a book that was going to have to be kind of ambiguous, because in my mind, this book is about experiencing a Mandela effect. And I don't know that that's necessarily how it's going to be perceived, which is fine. If that's the way that I wrote it and it's not perceived that way, it's fine. But I was like, there is necessarily ambiguity with that. And I can't be like, these things are happening this way and this is why, because that totally defeats the whole point of like messing around with the idea of the Mandela effect. And
Right.
so I think I was probably a lot more ambiguous in my first couple drafts. And I mean, there's a point about 2/3 of the way through where almost every reader was either like, I have no idea what you're doing, and the next chapter made no sense, and the other readers were like, that was so weird. I've never experienced that. That was so much fun. And I'm totally okay with that. I'm okay with people, one or the other. I know that that's going to be how it's received, and that's all right.
Okay. That's kind of where, like, I don't know. I think anyone writing any kind of story, especially when there is a degree of ambiguity, you have to be comfortable with people going, what? I don't get it. And you're like, I'm sorry. This is what the book is, man.
Yeah.
You're not getting any more from me. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I think that is accurate though. Like it feels like it is you delving into Mandela, like being inside one and knowing and seeing how that feels. It turns out it's very unsettling and uncomfortable. It's not people disappearing and never existing. You're like, I don't like that. Doesn't make me feel good. But it is, I don't know, but it is, I was not expecting it. I feel like and that there's that thing 2/3 of the way through, which we will not talk about. That was me going, what? Wait, what happened? Oh, I see. I think. I mean, but it's again, I love books that do that. I love books, especially I love books that do the big tonal shift in the third act. The big, like, you think you know what this story is. No, it turns into something else.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that change. Some people, again, but you're right. There's some people, I've done that before. People are like, Robbie, what, why is this book a different book now? I'm like, sorry. One of my favorite movies is Predator. That movie is not, that movie is 3 movies.
Yes.
There's 3 different things happening. Like, it's a commando movie, and then it's a slasher, and then it's just like Arnold versus an alien at the end. Like, it's not, they're all different things.
Yes.
And I think, okay, so macro scale mystery to micro scale mystery.
Mm-hmm.
You already mentioned like dropping hints and clues, breadcrumbs to readers
Mm-hmm.
using what a character would see and just
Mm-hmm.
relying on their perspective, letting that guide you as a writer. Is there any moments where you have to perhaps you have to do, is it, are you, let me rephrase, are you planning your, those, let's say, reveals, which are, they're tiny reveals,
Mm-hmm.
based on what character you're writing, because this character is more perceptive than that character and vice versa?
Um, I think so. I think so, and I think part of it was that I had a completely different ending in mind, and so I think that drove a lot of what I was driving the characters to.
Okay.
And so the reveals, I guess, were more personal in that way. If they're going to be experiencing these things that are really only they can be experiencing them, but it is making this like total experience for the whole island. That's what more feels this horrible thing to happen to this person specifically, and that will be a reveal for what's going on.
Right. Okay. My dog is barking. Sorry, I was trying to keep it so you wouldn't be hearing my dog.
Oh, I couldn't hear your dog.
Okay, good. I muted my microphone. She's just barking at probably a child walking around on the sidewalk outside. So social media. We already mentioned social media,
Mm-hmm.
and it is integral to this book, integral to
Yes.
the story, about how it shapes our perception and how social media is not real,
Mm-hmm.
but yet it is sometimes guides how anyone sees you, perceives you as a human.
Yes.
And I know that very well.
Yeah, I'm
Just
sure.
coming, as you mentioned, leaving StokerCon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who know me because they see me on Instagram, and I'm the guy with pink hair, and
Mm-hmm.
they know me, but they don't know me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. And I it was on top of mind as I was reading this. So, and then like there's and as social media has become a part of everyone's lives,
Mm-hmm.
like it or hate it, it has become a part of stories and
Yes.
how we portray social media in stories. And this is, I think, again, macro, micro level. How did you decide both how much you want that element in the book
Mm-hmm.
and mechanically, like how to show social media posts in your prose?
Yeah. Yeah, that was another thing where my critique group really helped me again, because I knew that it was going to have such a huge role, because the only way I really knew about like Firefest was through social media, so there was no getting around that. That's how everybody else knew about it because everybody else was, sending their SOSs from the island through social media. So I wanted it to be a really big part of the book. And then when it got to my critique group, they were like, "You've got to get us off the screens. Like, we need to be on the island more. I am so tired of being on the screens." And I understood that. And so I had to really pull back and have it be more of the characters experiencing it rather than just straight looking at the screens and the posts and all
Right.
of that. So that was kind of hard to do. And while I was writing, I decided to read some other books where social media is integral to kind of see how that's pulled off. And there's a lot of other writers who are doing a really good job doing that and not just totally throwing us in there. But it is difficult. It is really difficult.
I mean, it's also the test. I mean, one, it effectively you're almost making found footage at a certain
Hmm.
point because you're using social. And then like having read a lot of found footage books lately, there's social media posts in them, like literally
Yes.
just like excerpted, and you're like, okay, but it's not prose. You're not writing prose anymore. You're almost right. You're writing a social media post that goes on
Hmm.
to in your book.
Right.
Um, and I think that's the other question is like, was that a concern as you're writing, because social media changes
Hmm.
and has
Oh yeah.
changed constantly in 20 years now. Um, Was there a thought of, well, I don't want to date the book by including social media that might be obsolete in 5 years from now?
Yeah, because I mean, even as I was writing it and drafting it, Twitter changed to X, and I was like, okay, so should I call it something else or should I call it Twitter? And so that's why I finally had to settle on like an exact date that it all happened, and I just had to be okay with that and move on. And I guess I'm not overly concerned with dating myself because the turns of phrase that we use are going to change, and the fact that we have social media is going to rapidly age things. And I mean, even when I think about like classics, I've read Dante's Inferno, and I've read the Barnes and Noble version, which is great because the last third of the book is just footnotes to explain what he's talking about, because he's just like calling people out and roasting them essentially. And so it's like, we're always going to have that. And so I don't feel too badly about dating it, but it's also like I just have to accept that this isn't going to be a timeless book. This is going to be a book that's very of its time, and that's all right.
Well, in a couple hundred years, there'll be the footnotes edition where they'll
Sure,
have all the
sure.
explanations for what social media was in 2022, et
Right.
cetera, et cetera. Um, and gosh, this is gonna be a hard question to answer on spoilers, but I want to talk about
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Because we won't give any detail. It's going to be big picture, because that
Okay.
two thirds moment in the book is, I liked it a lot. I like it again when a book it jumps you out of like, oh, this story, and like things are already falling apart by that point of the
Yeah.
story anyway. You're like, something's wrong. This is not. I don't know. There's clearly something strange, supernatural, something extra natural happening. But then a thing happens, which we will not reveal, but you should read the book to discover what we're talking about. Is what you should really do. We don't have to describe the thing, but I do want to know how you got to that, and that decision to have a kind of a hinge, right, in the
Mhm.
book where it suddenly opens up into a new thing.
Mhm.
Um, is that because you mentioned having other drafts, and even in your afterward you talk about working through stuff? Was that always there? Was that where did that decision come in? Was that always in the book? Did that come in later because I need to give the reader context or etc.?
No, that was always there because
Okay.
that was always I initially wanted it to kind of have three ambiguous endings for the three characters that we follow. And then when I finally finished that draft, I was like, nobody's going to understand what the hell is happening here. And so that was me trying to hold on to as much of that through line as possible and still
Okay.
saying like, here is here is the trajectory for this character.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish
All
I could
right.
say more, but I
No,
don't
no,
wanna
you're good. You're
spoil it.
good. No, you're fine. That's I it's more, this is a question more about when you are writing something that has a something that could a dramatic shift.
Mhm.
Is there, you already have concern of, you already mentioned the three ambiguous endings for
Mhm.
your three POV characters. Is those changes are solely driven by concern over like confusing readers, or is it, well, I would also, is it because I'm like, it's always this push pull of, people always say, oh, well, you write for you don't write for
Yeah.
readers.
Mhm.
But sometimes I'm reading a draft and I go, this is so confusing. No one's gonna. I do want my readers. I don't want people to understand my story. I
Yeah.
want them to get the message I'm trying to tell them. I'm trying to, so that they care about what's happening. And if they're
Right.
totally confused, they won't. Um, how much change are you willing to, I would say that ultimately, how much change are you willing to make to a draft to assuage those fears, to mitigate a reader being utterly confused?
Um, it really depends. I guess it really depends on how much it changes the integrity of the story, because I have a novel that I self-published, and it's a bit of a mess. It's a little punk rock, but a lot of people accused me of forgetting to put quotation marks in the book, and I was like, I did not forget to put quotation marks in the book. That was a decision. And experiencing the pushback from that was definitely a learning experience to be like, okay, not everybody's going to like the weird experimental thing you choose to do. But ultimately, I'm satisfied with that. I'm satisfied for what it did for the story. But with Island X, it, I think, made it so that people wouldn't understand what I was saying. I was like, this is just an idea that can really only live in my head. And even the beginning of Act 3, I worked with my editor, Nico Bell, because she was like, I do like what you're doing. However, I think we need to clarify what you're doing a little bit. So I had to write a whole new scene to really make people understand better, like where I was coming from and what the story was.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, I think, funny you mentioned the people, you making decision, a self-published book that a publisher probably wouldn't let you do because they know we have to follow form.
Mm-hmm,
We have to follow, we have to satisfy a reader's preconceptions. It's an advice I give to people who are self-publishing. I've self-published everything I've published so far.
mm-hmm.
And I tell people every single time that I've tried to do something experimental and I thought this is right for this book. It's a weird thing that will work for this book. All it does is it just confuses people.
Yeah.
It has never, 0 times has people gone, oh, that's interesting. No, they go, Robbie, is there a
Right.
misprint? What happened? Like literally every time. And I'm like,
Right.
and now I tell the people, I'm like, if you're self-publishing, I'll tell like the beauty of self-publishing, you do whatever you want. But the beauty, but also the downfall of self-publishing is that if you do whatever you want, you're probably going to confuse people because people have very like standard expectations for how a book reads and what it looks like. And I'll tell you're probably like, you want to be Cormac McCarthy, who's like, I'm not going to use quotation marks. I'm going to do this, and then you try and do it, and they're like, what is this? What did
Right.
do you know how books work? And you're like, well, yeah, I do, but it's like also, but you can't, you can write a draft in a vacuum and by yourself without any. You mentioned a critique group.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then you expose it to people, and they're like, no. I don't know. Well, I mean, and it's like, well, ultimately, we are creating something that is to be read by others, not just ourselves.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you do write the story that you want to read because you'll have to read it 1,000 times to edit it. But but yeah, if you do want other people to read it, then you do have to make it something that at least a couple hundred people are going to get at best, right? Like otherwise just leave it in your journal. There's no reason to try to spruce it up for anybody else if you're going to just confuse the hell out of them.
Right. It's I don't know. There's the I don't know that always. I don't know if I don't know if I should think about all that so as much as I do, but maybe it's just because I've done this enough that I'm like, it's such an interesting question to me because there's our authors and sometimes books that are people going, I did not change a thing.
Mm-hmm.
They are at times utterly confusing, and navigating them is as much of the experience as the story is, and they're really successable and everyone loves them.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I guess that's not my book.
Yeah.
I guess I don't get that. Yeah, I'm not House of Leaves. I can't do that, I guess. I'm not allowed.
Right.
Yeah. That's really, I mean, it's probably safe advice for most people. Like you're not Mark Daniel. I can't say his last name, but you're not House of Leaves.
Right.
And he has a new book that I've yet to read.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to read it though.
I have yet to finish House of Leaves, so maybe
really?
I'll have. It's just so long.
It is long. You want to know something funny though?
What is that?
House of Leaves was my comfort reread after the last election.
Oh my god! I don't even. I think that it feels like that feels like the thing you tell the first thing you tell a therapist is like, you sit down, you say, so.
I'm rereading House of Leaves.
I'm rereading House of Leaves, and they go, oh no. I just couldn't, the footnotes, the constant back and forth with the footnotes to get things, and I'm like, it makes me really tired.
Sure.
And I'm
Sure.
trying to, and it's really long, and I'm trying to get through it and moving the book around. I'm like, I don't have that. I'm an old man. Please leave me alone. I can't read this. I try, and I'll try again. Probably next year or 2 years, I'll try and read it again, and I'll probably bounce off again. Eventually,
Sure.
maybe when I'm an old elderly man, I'll muster up the marathon to finish House of Leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Island X
Mm-hmm.
comes out in 1 week. We're gonna move on to our second segment, but everyone should go pre-order Island X. It's a lot of fun. It made me think a lot. And did stuff that I was not expecting, which I love. I love when a book can surprise me. And Island X did. It constantly surprised me. A lot of things I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't know what was happening. And then I knew it. And I'm like, oh, I see. Oh, this is great. I love that.
Thank
Those
you.
things. And it's also, but it does make it hard because a lot of those things are spoilers. That I can't say exactly what they are. But the Mandela effect stuff is a lot of that. A lot of what is real.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what is real and what is not real, and how social media is both real and not real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unless you're on Instagram, then you have reels. That's a terrible. I shouldn't. That was a terrible joke. I apologize.
You got to keep it in though.
I will. So half the people are listening are laughing, and the other half are groaning at me, which is perfectly fine. We can move on to the second act, which is broader bookish questions. And your first question is from my last guest. And at the end of this segment, I'll ask for a question for the next guest.
Okay.
And so the last guest is my re-record with Timothy King, because we recorded the machine ate it, and so I re-recorded with him. And his question for you is a doozy.
Okay.
Tim's question for you is, he wants one prediction for the future of the publishing industry.
Oh gosh.
Exactly, that's what I said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so new to this whole thing. The future of the publishing industry. I think that I want to be hopeful. I have a tendency towards cynicism, but I really want to be helpful for publishing. So my prediction is that we're gonna go back to more community, I guess. So that might mean more like small press, more self-publishing. And I think that because like with AI and everything, I think that it's going to push people to write more like by hand, or write more in groups, or write more zines or something like that. And people are going to be pissed off at like one company's choice regarding AI and suspected AI versus another company. And I think we're just going to at some point throw our hands up and say, fine, I'll just do it my fucking self. And I think that's great. I think that's awesome. So I look forward to that. So I hope that's correct, because otherwise it could be really fucking bleak.
There was at Stoker, I've had, I think, 3 or 4 separate conversations about AI.
Mm-hmm.
And an interview that has yet to it was, by the time this comes out, will be 2 weeks old, but it has yet to drop in the present, with Joshua Millican.
Mm-hmm.
He asked about AI, but he's like, limit the discussion to 3 minutes, because any more than that, you'll just spiral. He's like, just make it short, say it sucks, and then move on.
Yeah.
But I'm already I think it's already going that direction, but I see anything that's using AI, especially in arts,
Mm-hmm.
it is already seeing a market reaction of that is trashy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm, again, hopeful that as you see that, and as things become, I don't know. I don't think AI is ever going to be sophisticated enough to actually write anything good. And if people try and sell things that are AI, people are going to go, that's trashy, and not want it.
Yeah.
Which is, but I think that's a good prediction for someone who hasn't been doing this long. I think that's a good prediction. I think I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
My first question that I ask everyone: who's an author more people should be reading? And you can give me more than one name if you'd like.
I have a very close friend kind of turning into my mentor a bit because I've just started talking to her more and more. Christina Bergling from Colorado. She's great. She also has a book about social media gone wrong. If people are interested, read Island X and they're like, I want more of that. So read her. My friend Jennifer Ann Gordon, who I met at Nikon last year, she has a short story collection called The Japanese Box and Other Stories, and I devoured it in one sitting. It was amazing. I think everyone should read it. I felt super seen when I read it. She has a book coming out this year too, so be on the lookout for that. And I don't know. There's many great so many great authors out there. It's hard for me to even keep up with all of them because I try to keep up with like who's doing what and who's putting out a series and who won a Stoker this year and is up for it next year. And then there's like all these indie things coming out, and it's great because there's never nothing to read, but it's difficult because I think my TBR is going to outlive me.
Oh, I'm not going to read all the books that I own. It's
No.
impossible. I mean, I'm busy reading books that aren't even out yet,
I
so
know,
I can't
right?
even. I can't keep up with books that I want to like. I mean, I will read books for fun on top of the books I read for this podcast that are
Mhm.
oftentimes overlap, but it's still impossible. You can't
Yeah.
read everything. There's just too much. You have to pick and choose. Apply it where you but it's. I mean, it is never been better.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
the horror in particular. I tell people this all the time.
Mhm.
Never been better. It's
Yeah.
even in the boom of the 80s with Stephen King, Dean Koontz, Clive Barker, all those guys. This is better. We've never been better.
Yeah.
You can there's literally at your fingertips an incredible expanse of ability and perspective and stylistic
Yeah.
differences between people. It's so good. Whenever I hear someone go, back in the good old days, I'm like, who are you? What are you
Who are
talking
you?
about? What is this? Are you okay?
Right.
You take off the nostalgia goggles. Um, I'll do another oldie and a goodie. What's the best piece of advice you followed?
The best piece of advice I've followed. I guess the best piece of advice that I've ever gotten is it is just like write the book you want to write and like put it all out on the first draft and see what survives. I think that I had a tendency to really try to like I don't know, suppress stuff in the first draft that I was like, is this goofy or is this gonna work? And you can't do that. You can't do that. You just gotta write it. And if you come back later and you're like, oh, that sucked, like it's your first draft. You're not gonna show it to anyone. It's okay if it sucks. No one has to see it.
You'll fix it. You'll make it better,
You'll
or
fix
you'll
it.
go. Actually, this is brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, and don't get rid of anything either. That was another good piece of advice is to have track changes or the document of scraps because I had gotten rid of stuff and you can never get that back.
Nope. Yeah. Do not delete anything forever.
No.
Just put it aside. Put it in a different file, or keep different versions of files. Keep the first version, volume 2, volume 3,
Yeah.
dash final real this time done. Final draft X, final draft XX, X3, X4. Keep going. Where do you write and why do you write there?
I usually write in this room,
Okay.
and I write here because I have a very clickety clackety keyboard that I like to write on. I bought a typewriter that I keep in this room for when I'm not feeling the keyboard and I need to write on a typewriter.
Does that help? Do you like that?
Yeah, because I have to type more slowly than when I type on the computer, but it's faster than handwriting. And so I have like all of these different paces that I can go at. So I really try to give myself no excuse not to write. I'm like, you can handwrite it. You can send yourself a voice note. You can do it wherever, whenever I can take my typewriter into my backyard and just sit in the sun and just like hammer away. So sometimes I do that, but mostly I write in this room. I just put on music and I vividly hallucinate and write some of it down.
Okay, so that's the next question. What kind of music do you listen to?
Oh my gosh. I mostly listen to like a lot of like grunge and like pop punk.
So
I did
lyrics. You can listen to lyrics while you write?
I can, yeah, and sometimes I
Okay.
have to. Like, I just
Oh,
finished
okay.
a manuscript that I had a very set playlist for, and I would listen to it every time I wrote, and it kind of took me through mentally, it took me through the whole narrative of the book, and so that was nice to, like, have that set for me. That was a lot of, like, Nine Inch Nails and Black Box Recorder.
Okay. All right. It's a lot of people are like, I can't do lyrics.
Mhm.
It has to be just, sounds or soundscapes or classical
Yeah.
or, electronic music without vocals.
Yeah. I mean, I do like some of the, like, lo-fi you can find on YouTube, like Lo-Fi for Ghosts. That's one of my favorite ones that I like to listen to.
It's a lo-fi for ghosts
For ghosts.
explicitly?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't I don't know. Here's the thing about lo-fi stuff. I hate it when I hear a phone ring inside them.
I hate it when there's, like, rain or water noises, so I am very picky. Yeah.
I like the water noises. Okay. I also don't like it. There's also like a lo-fi Nintendo
Mm.
lo-fi with like
Mhm.
old Nintendo soundtracks, but every so often you get a woohoo, and I'm like, I don't want that.
I don't want
I don't
that.
want Mario yelling at me in the middle of me trying to write. Calm
Yeah.
down, Mario. Charles Martinet, relax. Um, okay. When do you know a project is done?
Um, when do I know it's done? I guess when all of the pieces seem to fit together well, because I do usually have, like, a beginning in mind and an end, and then I'll have some stuff in the middle. So when all the pieces fit together and seem to make sense, that's when it's done.
I think that's the healthiest answer I've ever gotten for that question.
I mean, then, I have to send it to a group and then they slip apart, but yeah, that's when I'm like, "Look at this now. I won't be embarrassed if you look at it now."
Okay. It's there's a I don't know, there's a people are sometimes like, "Oh, when it's the deadline comes, that's when it's done." Cuz I don't,
Well, I've
you know, they don't it's never done. Or I don't know,
Yeah,
my answer is always when I hate it.
when I
Then I
hate
know
it,
it's ready. When I know it's ready
or
because I can't stare at it anymore. I've stared at it for months and I'm tired. I can't do this. It's
yeah.
done.
Yeah, I feel that with it, but I've never had a deadline, so I can't say that. I can just keep going and going and going, and then I guess I could come to hate it, which I did come to hate all of the books that I've written so far, but then you realize the pieces fit together, and you're like, "Alright, I guess that wasn't so bad. I did an okay job on that."
Yeah. No, I mean, it's momentary. You
Yeah,
let a month goes by and you're like, no, it's my little baby. I love it.
yeah.
Um, what was your gateway horror media?
Oh my gosh. Um, when I was when I was 7, my parents didn't really stop me from doing anything. I loved, like, Demon Knight. That was my favorite movie as a kid.
Demon Knight. Okay.
And when I was 7, I read my first Stephen King book, and I actually got in trouble in school for reading it. It was Insomnia. It was about as big as I was, and the teachers were like, "She can't possibly be comprehending this book." And my parents were like, "Test her on it then." So they did. They asked me comprehension questions, and they were like, "All right, well, you can't tell the other kids what you're reading."
I don't think I've ever heard Insomnia be someone's first Stephen King before.
Yeah,
It's,
my mom
it's
recommended it to me.
I mean, it's good. I don't really remember it. I read it, but it was a
Mhm.
long time ago. I don't really remember it anymore, but
Yeah.
well, I enjoyed it when I read it.
Yeah.
30 years ago, maybe. I don't know, 25 years ago. I was a teenager probably when I read it. I was
Mhm.
probably 16 or something. Um, Insomnia. Okay. 7 years old reading Insomnia. Um, good question. What is a practice that helps keep your writing momentum going?
Um, I have to have a really structured day to really keep up the momentum. Like, the traveling that I just did has totally thrown me off, and I'm trying to get back into it. But I mean, I have like a podcast that I do, and
Plug your
uh,
podcast. Tell people to go listen to it.
So I have a master's in chemistry, and I worked as a toxicologist at the coroner's office in El Paso County, Colorado. So I have a toxicology-focused true crime podcast under my legal name called Lethal Dose. We're currently on a little bit of a hiatus. We did just release an episode on white phosphorus. That was a lot of fun to do.
Oh my
Also very
God.
sad.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds horrible.
It was very sad, yes.
Yeah. God almighty, white phosphorus. Okay. Well, that's good. Lethal Dose. Okay. Everyone go listen to Lethal Dose.
Yeah. So when I'm trying to balance those things in
Yeah.
writing, I have to have like, I'm going to do the podcast this week, and then I'm going to do, after I get off work and before I make dinner, I'm going to write for the novel. Or if I have short stories I'm working on, I'm like, I got to do that between these hours. And I just make myself sit here and stare at the Word document.
Yes. That's a thank you. Thank you for saying that. That's my also like, hey, people are like, I'm not writing. I'm like, are you sitting down to write?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, no, I don't. It's more me. I don't know if I should just sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down. Don't do anything else. Just sit down to write.
Yep.
And if you get 5 words out, great. If you get 1,000 words out, even better. If you get 10,000 words out, that's a crazy day.
Right.
But whatever happens. It won't happen unless you do it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm just I feel like I have weird energy coming out of StokerCon. Okay, this is a question that used to be that was a one-time question, but I'm using it again because I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. Is there a book that you don't necessarily enjoy, mm-hmm. but you would recommend people read? And if so, what is it?
That I don't enjoy, but I would recommend that people read. Let's see. See, now that I'm on the spot, I can't think of any book I've ever read in my entire life.
You're not the first person to say that.
That I don't enjoy, but that people should read. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is a book out there that I read, and I was like, that's great. I'll never read that book again. I mean, what is coming to mind, and I can't let go of it, is Bridge to Terabithia, which is neither horror nor what I currently read. But yeah, if you want to be emotionally devastated by a young adult book, go ahead and read that.
My answer would be American Psycho. Off the top of my head right now, it'd be American Psycho. Because I didn't enjoy that book. But it is well written and does mm-hmm. what it's trying to do. It is mm-hmm. very effective at what it is. And it's also very different from the movie. Mm-hmm. Which there's what you want is lots of description of fashion from the 80s and then sprinkled in a little bit of extreme violence and gore, then read American Psycho. But it is, I would still recommend people read it because it is that, and you might like it. A lot of people love it, but it is a very good example of like a writer doing a very specific pointed thing to get a theme across.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like a fun book. Like it's not, it's like, there's a lot of tedium in it on purpose. It's like, so it's like, it's not snappy. Like that movie is, under 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's a much more palatable experience. But as a writer, you're not going to get much of how to develop craft by watching, Christian Bale,
yeah.
Run
Legend Jared Leto.
Yeah, I was going to say, try getting a reservation at Dorsey, We'll do one more question.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, though. Yeah. What is the hardest scene or character you've ever written, and what made it so difficult?
Hardest scene or character I've ever written. Well, okay. I did just finish a manuscript that I keep talking about every time I'm on a podcast. I'm like, maybe I should stop talking about this. No one's even seen this.
No. Hey. This is not just advice for you. This is for anyone listening, any writers. People, we have a tendency to hold back things that are not published yet because we are afraid for whatever, like people will get confused that it's not available or they will steal our ideas or whatever. in this, and maybe this probably didn't apply in 1975, but in 2026, this is currency.
Yeah.
You talking about a thing, and if like someone could be listening that could want this idea,
Yeah, that's true.
and they might go, "Hey, I heard you talk about that. Can I see it?"
Yeah.
So I'm of the mind that if you're excited about a project, and certainly if it answers this question,
Yeah.
freely talk about it.
I am very excited about this. It's the new shiny thing I just finished. So and I've been like I was part of like the pit wars and stuff, and I put it out there so people know that like it is in existence. But
Okay.
it's about a woman who accidentally ends up in a mushroom cult. So she kind of falls down the crunchy to alt-right pipeline.
Stop digging. You hit oil. This is incredible. I already want to read it.
And it was hard to write her because I was trying to kind of show like anybody can end up in a cult. Like I have a lot of sympathy for people who have ended up in cults. I was listening to a lot of podcasts with Allison Mack of Nexium, who I was, first when that stuff broke, I was like, oh my gosh, she must have been a terrible person. And she did do some pretty abhorrent things and has taken responsibility for them. And I was like, how do you even wrap your head around taking responsibility for that and then coming out like who I consider to be like a pretty all right person on the other side. Like she seems to be doing what she needs to do. And so it was really difficult for me to have a character that I'm like, I want people to keep following this character and I want people to keep feeling bad for her, even if she makes bad decisions. But then at the end, they need to understand that she's not the hero of this story. So I had a lot of fun writing that, but it was difficult. It was difficult to write her. Yeah.
I mean, everyone thinks that they would never get absorbed into a cult.
But there's something out there for everyone.
Yes. And it's oftentimes they even say that people who are, if you're, the smarter you are, the more easily you can be pulled in.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're not aware. For entry level stuff, there's a book called Cultish that I
read that.
It's surface level. It's not like that's for like the layman. If you want to dig into real like cult mentality, there's a basically infinite amount of material you can dig through if you want to. But that's a nice little bite-sized chunk of stuff.
Yeah, well, and I did want to have that sort of like language of the cult in the book, and so I was like, well, what does she have to say as a linguist about it? And it was fun to write that because I have some stuff that kind of like, it irks me a little bit. I'm like, I can't believe they do that, but I wrote it, so like.
I mean, what irks you better than anyone. To be fair,
it's true.
You know all the soft spots. That's what I say. When people ask me about my books, and I go, "Oh, this book makes me cry," but I also wrote it, so I know what makes me cry. I know what hurts me, so I can do that. Mm-hmm. I need a question for the next guest.
Do I get to know who your next guest is?
I can tell you.
Okay.
There's a cat crying outside my office, which is distracting me. It is RJ Joseph, who just won a Stoker.
RJ Joseph, that's awesome. Yeah. I can't wait for her short story collection to come out. I'm so excited for it.
That's what we're going to be talking about.
Are you going? Oh, I want to know what her favorite short story collection is. I just want to know anything she has to say.
Well, good for you. I've got an hour for you. It'll be a week after this one.
Oh, that's so exciting. I guess I want to know when she thinks of a really good short story, what's the short story that comes to mind for her? The best one she's ever read, or the one that just like really grips her?
Okay, that's a good question because I also want to know that. Please tell me so I can. I mean, I assume that she'll probably roll off like friggin' 50 of them, probably. She'll be like, this one, this one, this one, this one. These are all ones. If people are listening, if people are reading them, they should go read them.
Right.
That's a good question. I will ask RJ that when I interview her. We can move on to our final segment.
Okay.
It is time for blood. It's time for struggle, time for trouble, time for hardship. be it nuts and bolts, trying to get a book written, be it philosophy, be it ethos, be it social media, speaking of Island X, or marketing or business things. It could be any of those things.
Mhm.
Something you're dealing with now, or something you dealt with recently. What's on top of mind?
What's on top of mind that is painful, that
Mhm.
makes me cry?
Yeah, that you're struggling with. Yes, probably because other people out there are also struggling with it. Is why we do this.
Yeah. Um, I I'm struggling with I have this short story collection I've been trying to get myself to put together, and it's there, but it's not wanting to be yanked out of me by the roots. And even when I come down here and I sit, it's been very difficult to write this collection. And I think part of it is because a lot of the stories I'm writing, the whole collection, I think, is going to be stories that are going to be hard to sell because they're inspired by trauma. And so it's going to be things like there's going to be child abuse and there's going to be sexual assault. And I understand if people don't want to publish those and they're open calls. And so I'm just going to take them and put them into their own book. But it's also difficult for me to reach into myself and say, all right, we're going to talk about this now. Let's put this into a story. And when I've talked to people, when I'm like, how do you sell a short story collection, you guys? Everybody's basically just like, you should probably just self-publish it if you don't have an agent. And so there's the technical difficulty of like, what am I going to do once I yank all of this out of myself? Is it just going to sit in a file on my computer, or am I going to self-publish it? But that's been top of mind.
Okay, I mean that's two things, so that's even better. I think the second thing is easier than the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is, you self-publish it. That's
Which
what you do.
I've done before, so I can do that again.
I mean, I've had this discussion with at least two people over the weekend about them doing the exact same thing. And it comes up as like, unless you are a name, unless you're a relatively known author who probably does have an agent,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to get anyone interested in publishing a collection of yours. Or unless you're friends with a press, that's a possibility. Or if you're close friends with somebody who runs a press. But I don't know. I also am like, I'm firmly at like, that's the beauty of self-publishing, is that I believe in this and I love it and I can put it out, and you know how to do it. You've already done it before, and you know a bunch of people who can do it and help you with tiny things that you don't know how to do yet.
Right.
Me being one of them. So if you need help with anything, just tell me, I'll help.
Sure.
That's not that's always the things for me. It's like, that's the simpler answer. Is like, well, I can't do it here, here, here. How can I? And I want to get it out there. How do I do it? Oh, I self-publish it. The first thing, I have to go. I need to force myself to unpack trauma to write a short story.
Yeah.
That's a lot harder. I can't. There's no like easy answer. Like, oh yeah, well, you know how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you do know how to write short stories.
Yeah. Well, and to plug my friend Christina again, she actually has a workshop on writing and trauma that I found very helpful. And I was kind of putting off some of this until after I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the workshop and I'm going to learn a lot. And I did. And so now the task is to apply it. But yeah, I'm lucky enough to live in the Springs where she teaches that. Maybe she'll do an online one. Everybody should bug her about it because it was a very good workshop. But
that sounds really good. Yeah.
It was great. It was great, but it does not make it any less of a difficult task to be like, here's this horrible thing. Let's process it now.
Yeah. I mean, I think I guess I'll retract a little bit of what I just said, because it is simple in that you know what you need to do, but it is not easy because you have to do it, and it is going to be painful and it's going to be hard because it's come up on this podcast multiple times. Horror writers tend to write really horrific, terrible things. We don't enjoy it most of the time. No, it's really miserable.
Yeah,
it's really. We've had multiple stories on this podcast. I have them where I'm like, I have to go take a walk. I can't write anymore today. I wrote something horrible. I
Yeah.
need to go breathe. I'm gonna go pet my. I need to go hug my dog. It's like
Right.
that. Uh, but it is still like I look back at those scenes and I go, that makes the book or it makes
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I don't know how many stories is it going to be.
I think I'm aiming for 6. So I have one that is going through a critique group now, 2 that I have the bones of, like I have those kind of like beginning, middle, end parts. I'm just trying to string them together. And then I'm trying to figure out what I want the other 2 to be. I have some ideas, but I'm not quite sure how I want to execute them yet.
So but you are excited about this collection. Is
Yeah.
it okay? All right.
Yeah. No, I mean, with the story that is actually done, I feel very good about it. I mean, uh, it's about a woman who's sent back in time to experience her mother's trauma for her. So
Oh my god. Holy shit.
it was cathartic to write. I think people will relate to it. So I think it's a good story, but it
That
was
sounds
difficult.
great. But it also sounds heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah. It made my husband very sad to read,
Oh
but
my god. That's he read it. Okay. I mean, good. That's very supportive of him.
yeah,
He's
he's read all
reading
of
this.
my stuff.
Okay, that's my wife has not read any of my stories. She doesn't. She doesn't like horror at all. So it's not gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
just be torture. I'm not gonna do that. I think it's simply of doing the hard thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
of the difficult, uncomfortable thing. But at the end, you'll have a collection all your own.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm excited to see how that looks. So I'm excited to rip it out of me, but hard thing to do.
I mean, that sounds like a good title. I mean, it might be too close to Viggy's new book.
Oh,
That I
that's true. That's true.
ripped up the middle in two,
Yeah.
which
Oh man, I'm
looks.
so excited for yeah.
Viggy's been on the podcast twice, so yes, I love Viggy. She's great, and her
Yeah.
books are. She's a great writer.
Mhm. Mhm.
She deserves to be more famous than she is. Honestly,
She does.
everything she's written has been great. This is not a podcast about Viggy. This is a podcast about you. Uh, um, when is that going to be end of year? You think?
I don't know. I don't know. It
Okay,
kind of depends on when I can uh get myself
muster
to
up.
write these. Yeah, and
Yeah.
as I'm doing this, of course, I was like, I have a certain timeline set because, I have to have structure. And so I was like, I'm gonna write short stories until about this point, and then that'll match up with when I'm querying this thing, and then I'll start my next novel. But the next novel wants to be written, so I've also already started that. So everything's just kind of a jumble right now.
Can you do that? Bounce between projects?
I think so. I mean, I can kind of use the short stories as like almost a palate cleanser when I'm like I can't sit down and write this novel. But of course, the short stories are hard to write too. So it's just I don't know. Some days I just have to come down here and be like, we're writing this. We're writing this. We're gonna write this scene. We're gonna get through it. And if it sucks, we'll just work on it again tomorrow.
Okay.
But
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
I am excited for this one. I think this one will be like it'll be hard to write for certain reasons, but it'll be easy to write for other reasons. So I think it'll be easy to inspire myself to write it, mostly because it's like very like based on music. It's going to be it's inspired by 2 of my favorite bands, so I can just put them on and just see what it is that I end up with.
Which of those 2 bands?
Well, I'll give you the full pitch.
Okay, here we go. Give it.
It's going to be a sapphic Interview with the Vampire meets The Big Sleep, inspired by the music of Alkaline Trio and My Chemical Romance.
That's that's a lot. Wow. Okay. For the people who love those bands, I'm sure they will. I'm sure I'll like the story. It's more that I think they're fine.
They're super goofy and emotional, but that's kind of what they
Yes,
do. That's their
exactly. I
deal.
mean, it lines up with those. It's more also the Interview with the Vampire and The Big Sleep. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you already have all that's really good. So yeah, I mean, I'll read it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like what I even when I don't love things, I still find things in them that I love.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a very Robbie, when I was a younger person, was very critical of things and they
Yeah.
weren't
Yeah.
perfect. But
Mhm.
now that I've written professionally for years, I go, this is a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And maybe this book is a perfect thing, but man, this one scene, this character, this chapter, this stuff, the way they use this, the way the prose is here, I go, wow, that's really good. And
Yeah.
I don't need the book. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be perfect book. There's no such thing. It doesn't.
Mm.
It doesn't even make. It's a stupid thing to hold up. Oh, this book has to be perfect. No, it just has to
Yeah.
be good.
Right.
That's all
Right.
books need to be. I don't know. Sorry. Now I'm rambling. Um, before we go, Marissa, I want you to manifest something for your career for the
Okay.
near to intermediate future. Something you want to happen, and after you speak it on this podcast, will happen.
Okay. My latest manuscript, The Mushroom Cult, is going to be picked up by someone.
Someone. Well,
Yeah.
I feel like that's not too hard to go.
No,
I by the time this drops, it might have already happened.
it might have already happened. Yeah. Yeah. It's in the world
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Exactly. That's great. Before we go, tell people where they should buy or where they should pre-order, and then if this is a little bit later, where they should buy Island X and where they can follow you on the internet.
Sure. Island X is available anywhere you get books. I think it would be great if you pre-ordered or bought directly from the Mad Axe Media site, because Joey's great and Jeff Bezos isn't. And you can also do it locally. You can do like a bookshop.org thing, get it from your local bookshop. You can find me online at Marissa Yarrow Author on Instagram and Blue Sky. I'm mostly on Instagram, though.
Same. Marissa, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.